Hi, my name is Umberto Mucci and this is We the ItaliaNews, a podcast about Italy during coronavirus times. Today is Thursday, September 23, 2021. As of today, 69% of the Italian population is fully vaccinated. Considering only the over 12s targeted by the vaccination campaign, 77% of the Italians are fully vaccinated. Regarding the doses administered in relation to the population, the regions with the highest rates are Molise, Lombardy, Puglia, Sardinia and Emilia-Romagna. Those with the lower rates instead are Sicily, Calabria, Trentino Alto Adige, Valle d'Aosta and Campania. For the past 8 weeks, out of the total number of cases among 0 to 19-year-olds in Italy, there has been a reduction in the percentage weight of those among older children and an increase among children. Those between 0 and 11 years old accounted for 20% of new cases and now exceeded 50%, merit to vaccination, which has made infections among adolescents drop quite rapidly. In the last 21 days, more than 6,000 children under the age of 5 have tested positive for COVID in Italy. Although COVID-19 in large numbers does not create particular problems in these age groups, the latter may act as a reservoir for the spread of the same virus throughout the population or bring the risk of generating variants potentially more contagious or able to reduce the effectiveness of the same vaccines in use. This is why Italy is waiting for the European authorization of the vaccine for the age group 6 to 11 years that should arrive in the fall. Instead, with regard to the elderly, the government is working on the hypothesis of administering the flu vaccine together with the third dose of the one against COVID-19 through 2 injections, one in each arm, during the same session. Studies say that this way does not increase the risk of adverse reactions or otherwise problems. However, the fact that they are drugs with different mechanisms prevents them from being put in the same vial. Starting this year, for the first time in Italy, pharmacists will also be involved in the flu vaccination campaign. It is not said, however, that pharmacists will also be organized to make the double dose in the same session to the over 80. It is more likely that the double dose, flu and COVID, will be done by the family doctor or in hospital facilities. Finally, in the last video, I told you about the fact that Italy has promised to donate by the end of 2021 15 million doses of vaccine to the poorest countries that are lagging behind in their vaccination campaigns. Yesterday, the head of the government, Mario Draghi, announced that Italy will triple this number, donating 45 million doses of vaccine before the end of the year. According to Instagrammable Italy, a report recently presented that analyzed 400,000 geo-referenced posts between July and August 2021 on Instagram, selected using a group of 24 hashtags related to travel experience in Italy, the most visited Italian regions this year were Campania, almost 11% of the posts analyzed geolocated, and then Lazio, Veneto, Puglia, Lombardy, Sicily, Liguria, Sardinia, Trentino Alto Adige and Umbria. Among the most popular hashtags there were Travel to Italy, Italian Landscapes, Italy Trip, Discover Italy, Italy My Passion, Italian Places. The result is different if we analyze the data sample from the point of view of the volume of engagement generated, likes and comments for each region. While Campania remains firmly at the top with 13.1%, the other following Italian regions are Tuscany, Lazio, Veneto, Puglia, Sicily, Lombardy, Liguria, Umbria and Trentino Alto Adige. But if these are data related to tourism in Italy, both real and virtual, those officially counted say that more than half of Italians left for vacation this summer, to be precise 33.5 million people, a figure that shows a substantial stability compared to last year, just minus 1%. There has been a clear preference of Italians towards the destination of a country, both for the desire to support Italian tourism, but also for the limits and uncertainties to COVID still present for the most popular foreign destinations. Only 6% have gone abroad. As for the type of vacation, the beaches is in first place, followed by tourism in the mountains and the rediscovery of small villages and towns in the Italian countryside. The numbers of the presences in the big cities instead went down this summer. Also, the duration of the trip shortens by 10% compared to last year, with an average of 9 days spent away from home. In a few days, the Italian government will approve the document on economic forecasts for the 2-year period 2021-2022. The numbers that the government hopes for this period speak of a growth of the economy above 10%. To find such a level of increase again, we need to go back to the late 1960s. The Italian economy will close 2021 with an increase around 6% against the forecast that had been plus 4.5%. It is true that there is an important rebound effect after the collapse of 2020, of course, but Italy is doing better than other countries. In the second quarter of 2021, Italian GDP grew by 2.7% more than France and Germany, and the same applies to industrial production and investment by private companies. Italy is the second manufacturing power in Europe and the seventh in the world, but it is 23rd in the world in terms of population, with an industry that has evolved towards more sophisticated products with greater added value, export-oriented not only in the food and fashion sectors, but also in mechanics, electronics, chemistry, and pharmaceuticals. We will close the gap with the pre-pandemic 1 year early, in 2022 instead of 2023 as forecasted. It had never happened in past crises that we anticipated the recovery. The government wants to boost this momentum with European money and the reforms in the recovery plan. The acceleration for the introduction of the mandatory Green Pass in all workplaces should be read not only in the key of an emergency health measure, but also looking at the economy. The government wants to absolutely avoid the risk of new closures and interruptions of production activity. The results of a recent study show that in Italy only 6 Italian regions are moving towards climate neutrality. They are Campania, Abruzzo, Friuli Venezia Giulia, Lazio, Liguria and Marche. At the bottom of the list, far from the European target, we find Tuscany, Umbria, Lombardy and Veneto. In spite of good practices, even the most virtuous Italian regions will have to improve their performance to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. The ranking, drawn up on the basis of 3 parameters, greenhouse gas emissions, energy consumption and renewable sources, shows that half of the Italian regions have not reduced their greenhouse gas emissions. 14 regions out of 20 have increased their energy consumption, and in terms of renewables, most of them are very far from the 2030 target. Those in order are just Valle d'Aosta, Trentino Alto Adige, Basilicata, Calabria and Molise, which have at least 40% of their consumption covered by new forms of energy. Liguria is the region with fewer cars in circulation as a percentage of the number of inhabitants, while those who have more cars in relation of their population are Trentino Alto Adige and Valle d'Aosta. Finally, the leaders in photovoltaics are Marche and Puglia. Yesterday, September 22, with the autumnal equinox, the most beautiful summer even for Italian sport came to an end. And yet, the Italian colors continued to give emotions and triumphs in sport, this time with a sport that is very loved throughout Italy, but is even more popular among the Italian Americans. At the World Bocce Championships held in France, Italy was a protagonist. For the Azzurri, the World Tournament of the Volo specialty, the one that is practiced with larger metal bocce and that has been proposed as a possible new discipline for the 2024 Olympics Games in Paris, closed with a very rich score: 2 gold, 4 silver and 2 bronze medals for Italy, for a total of 8 podiums. This gives me the opportunity to send a big Italian hug to all my Italian-American friends who play bocce, a wonderful way to celebrate their Italian heritage. It's all for now, it's all for today. I'll see you next Monday. My name is Umberto Mucci, this was We the Italian News. Ciao from Rome.